Hi, my name is Mark, and I want to welcome you to this introduction to the Fyrian website system and congratulate you on your new Fyrian-based website. I'm going to cover a few of the basic bits of information that you're going to need to know to take full advantage of your new website and get the full benefits of the Fyrian system. To start out with, I'm going to recommend that you go ahead and download the Firefox web browser, which I'm using right now. Reason for that is that Internet Explorer is inherently a very unstable web browser, thanks to Microsoft's unwillingness to accommodate and support some of the most basic web coding features that have been around for years. Firefox is a much more stable platform, and you will be much happier and experience much less problems if you download it and use it for your website editing. You can find the Firefox browser by going to mozilla.org, as you see right here, and just simply clicking on the Firefox icon right here. Along with that, I also want to point out some very important bits of information about web design in general and how it's different from print design before we get into how to log into the administrative portal of your new website. If you do a search, a Google search for web design basics, as I've done here, you'll see the very top link here is a link to an article on about.com about web design basics. And I certainly encourage you to read that, especially if you scroll down here. There is a few articles here that would be very good for you to read, particularly how the web is not print and things to avoid to drive away your readers. If you look at the web is not print, this is some good information about the difference between print design and websites. A couple things that I specifically want to draw your attention to. First of all, because a website is a dynamic layout, you don't have absolute control over the layout. With today's advanced browsers, a user can come in and change their view settings to zoom in, zoom out, increase the size of text, change page styling. You can even come in here and set default page colors. So you have to understand that the person who has ultimate control over the way your website looks is really the person viewing it. So you have to keep that in mind when you're laying out content for your site. Now, with that said, let's talk about some of the differences about what makes the web different from print. With the web, the core structure of your page is much more like an Excel spreadsheet than it is a Microsoft Word document. And let me show you what I mean by that. I have a sample Excel spreadsheet set up here. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've formatted some cells to look somewhat like the rough structure of a web page. Most web pages have a header area, which you can see that I have highlighted here. Some of them have sidebars, little spacers to create space between content, a main content area, and then a footer area. You've probably seen several websites that look something like this. Now, there are variations. Some sites have 3 columns versus 2, and I'm not going to get into that, but this kind of gives you a rough idea of how this works. So basically what that means is that the main content area, in other words, the area where the content you're going to be editing resides, is essentially a single cell from an Excel spreadsheet. And if you kind of think of it in that way, yes, I am oversimplifying it, but if you think about it in that way, it will help kind of get you to understand what it really is that you're working with. Some of the differences because of this are, for example, with a web page, when you're loading content in and you go to load in a photo, you can't just drag and drop the photo and have it land in a specific spot on the page. The photo is going to be above some text or it's going to be below some text. It's called inline editing. It means that the photo has to fall in line with the paragraph breaks of the text. So you can't, for example, have text wrap around a photo without some very, very complex web coding in CSS. Okay, so those are some of the differences there. Some of the other differences are you don't have control over line spacing or the amount of spacing in between lines like you do in Microsoft Word. In Microsoft Word, if you want to increase or decrease the space between lines or the leading, you simply go into the formatting palette and adjust the line spacing from single spacing to double spacing and so forth. With website design, you don't have that kind of flexibility. The line spacing is what the line spacing is. Again, if you know more complex CSS coding, you can make some of those adjustments. But for basic website content, you don't have that luxury. It is what it is. So you have to learn to work within those constraints. Okay. Now, with that said, let's get into, first of all, how you log into your new website. What you're going to do is you're going to come to your website address, http://yourcompany.com, and then you're going to input /admin and hit enter. Admin is just ADMIN as you see it here. Once you hit enter, it's going to bring up this login screen. When this login screen comes up, you're going to enter the email address that was supplied to you when your site was put online, as well as the password that was provided to you at that same time. So I'm just going to enter my password here and then click on login. What this is going to do is this is going to bring you to the dashboard, which is essentially the home page of your administrative control panel for your website. This dashboard gives you a sort of a bird's eye view of what's going on with your site. You can see how many visits you've had to your site, how many first-time visitors you've had to your site, number of online sales, number of inquiries, number of email newsletter subscriptions, and then down below here you have a live feed. The live feed is sort of a day-by-day accounting of everybody who has submitted information through your site, and if you click on that, any one of these, it will take you to that person's contact information in the built-in customer relation database or CRM database, which will be covered in a different video. Okay. Down here along the right-hand side, you also have system usage statistics that tell you of the resources you purchased with your hosting plan, how many you used, and how many are available, so you can keep track of that, as well as some hints and tips and tricks that tend to pop up from time to time. So that's how you log into the system. I certainly encourage you to check out mozilla.org to get the Firefox browser, and definitely read this series of articles on about.com regarding the basics of website design to give you a general understanding of what it is that you're actually working with. And then go ahead and log into your site and start poking around, and certainly check out more of these training videos by going to youtube.com. And up here in the search box, you can just type in our username, which is just Fyrian Websites, and hit enter, and it will bring up a list of all the different Fyrian training sites for you to view. Each one covers a different aspect of your site. Again, my name is Mark. Congratulations on your new site, and wish you the best of success with it.